What's up, you beauties? As you know, Amazon is sponsoring the channel for the next couple of months, so make sure to go ahead and check out their app store in the links down below. You can get up to 20% off your purchases if you purchase through the Amazon app store using their coins. So make sure to check the description and check the linked video to see how to go ahead and use that setup guide. It's extremely easy and it helps the channel out a bunch, so I appreciate you guys checking that out. And now let's go ahead and get into the video. What is up, you beauties? My name is BatchatBegins and welcome back to the channel. Today we are actually going to be talking about one of the best tanks that I think you can get for gold at the moment, and that is the 121B, the tier 10 premium tank. It's a fantastic medium tank. It's this mishmash, this amalgamation of different tanks that honestly come together to create one of the best medium tanks in the game, in my opinion. Now, of course, you're free to disagree and tell me your favorite medium tank at tier 10 in the comments below, but honestly, I think this is a great tank for your money. This tank has a stronger turret than the T62A, and I can tell you as an avid T62A player, it's not very easy to pin the T62A's turret, but this does have a stronger turret. And also, it has more speed than the 62A, the same speed as the 140, going 55 top speed. It also has a very strong upper plate, so it kind of combines the Object 140 and the T62A together in those regards. But what it has that differs from those two is a 105mm gun that has nearly the same DPM as Russian mediums. And it also has 6 degrees of gun depression. Like, this tank has so many different things going for it. And that comes together to make a very, very deadly medium tank. So just going ahead and showing you guys kind of this first battle here on Canal to show you how it works and hope that you get a feel for it. As you can see, I'm just exposing my turret, hoping to go ahead and get some bounces off that so I can go ahead and get some damage into the enemy team. And it looks like at this point that our team is kind of all down here on this side of the map. And that means that I'm free to go ahead and try and find that Vickers that I think is still over here. And fortunately, we do go ahead and find him. And what I'm going to do is just shove my tank right into his face, and I'm going to force him to have to go ahead and either fire premium to go through me, or he's going to have to aim very, very carefully to go ahead and pin me. And luckily, we are absolutely wrecking him here, only taking one shot so far from him. And we do go ahead and help our team finish him off, and that takes care of their only real tank that has view range on the enemy team, meaning that I can go ahead and wreak havoc wherever possible in this absolute monster of a tier 10 medium tank. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come straight up to the top of the hill here next to my 183 and just go ahead and put in some supporting fire onto these heavies that don't stand much of a chance. I would say, as far as equipment goes on this tank, you definitely want to run calibrated. If you're really comfortable with medium tanks and you're really comfortable with your positioning, maybe you can get away with rammer. But for me personally, I like to make sure that they're able to succeed in most scenarios, right? So if you're facing a heavy tank from the front, calibrated is really going to be your saving grace there. So I would definitely recommend using that just from my perspective. Also, gun laying drive is pretty solid. This tank does have APCR for standard and heat for premium, so it's not really struggling for the most part when you're actually shooting the normal shells. So I wouldn't say that you should run supercharge over gun laying drive. The next thing is the last bit on the left side, the vertical stabs or the refined gun. And I would say if you're really playing kind of a sedentary playstyle where you sit in one spot for pretty much the whole game, sure, the refined gun wouldn't be too bad because it does bring the accuracy down to 0.3. But if you're really playing this on the move a lot and you're flanking and you're trying to get shots into different targets across the board, I would definitely recommend vertical stabs because that's the one that I am using currently. As far as the second column goes, you want to take the first one on the right side for the top. You're going to want to take HP for the second one because the armor boost, if you didn't know, basically gives you negligible armor bonuses. So not really the best thing ever to go ahead and use. And on the bottom, you're obviously going to want to take repairs. On the right side column, for equipment, you're going to want to go ahead and get view range. You want to do this for pretty much every medium. There's no real point to getting the camo because it's not going to do that much for you. As you can see, in situations like these where the enemy basically has no more view range, not much view range anymore, I'm basically our team's eyes and ears. And if I didn't take view range, that would really, really make it more difficult for me in the end, because I'd be more like a heavy tank at that point. So take your view range, make sure you get that going. And on the second column on the right side, you're going to want to take the engine boost, because that is going to add to your traverse speed while making your engine a little bit faster. So basically your acceleration's going up a little bit, and that is very key for this tank. And on the very far right bottom side, you're going to want to take the left one, and that is just going to add to your consumable cooldown. You don't really need an extended consumable duration on this tank, so I would definitely recommend you take the consumable cooldown. So with all the consumables out of the way, as you can see, the playstyle of this tank throughout this battle has basically been to get a good flank going on, and then attempt to, at that point, just distract the enemies and pick away at their health. And that's what we've been doing for the entire game. Now, I was getting kind of cheeky here. I was trying to see if I could make the E4 bounce off the upper plate before we finish the game out there. But luckily, our team just goes ahead and finishes him off. And we end up with 5785 for damage, Mastery Badge, Top Gun, and High Caliber. Very, very solid first game for the 121B here. And for our last game of the day here, you can see we are on Middleburg. I'm playing with Droodles. He's in his FV4202, and I'm in the 121B. Now let's see who can do better, the standard tech tree tank or this very, very solid premium tank. Now, I would say for the money that this tank usually comes out for, about 15,000 gold, it's definitely worth the price. I think that, honestly, if there was a discount or you could get this thing in a fair, it probably would be a bit better value for money. But overall, this tank is so good. So I wouldn't say to like chance missing out on it. The first time I ever got this tank, it was before all of the massive buffs they gave to it. They buffed the reload, they buffed the traverse speed, they buffed like the speed of it. I mean, this thing has seen so many buffs in the last few years, and it's made it into this absolute like amazing tank. And I'm starting to like it a lot better than the 62A, even though I have some 400 games in the 62A here at Tier 10. I'm starting to really like this tank a lot better. Within one day of getting this tank back through a certificate to Wargaming, I sold the tank at one point because I didn't like it very much. And I put in a ticket, and Wargaming refunded my tank. If you didn't know, Droodles has a guide on that. If you check out his channel, you'll see how to refund tanks if you want to. And after I did that, I got this tank back, and within the first 2 days, I was able to get these really, really solid games. And even past that, I was getting lots of 4K games, lots of 3K games. I mean, this tank is just a menace when it gets going. As you can see, with the heat right through the E5's turret ring, I mean, just this tank is on fire most of the time. As far as accuracy goes, as far as DPM goes, this thing is a menace. As you see, we are just taking our time here, trying to whittle down the mouse and the E5, because we know that those are their two pushing tanks, and without those guys being healthy, they don't really stand much of a chance of fighting back against us. And as you can see, just taking my time to aim. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm using this hill to artificially increase my gun depression. If I wedge my tank up on the left side, I'm going to have more gun depression on the right side, naturally. As you can see, we're moving over here to the mouse, but obviously we don't want to be getting shot by the E5. We go ahead and finish him off. The Waffle is not looking at us right now, so I'm going to go ahead and try and save Droodles from this grill and this mouse. Obviously, want to focus out the lowest health target first. And we're just trying to be as big of a nuisance as we can be. It's down to 5-3, but we have a lot of DPM, and we're going to try and get as much health off these enemy tanks as we can. Now, I wasn't paying much attention, and I didn't realize that our heavy on the right of myself here was not pushing. So I was kind of in a tough spot there. I needed to go down so the Waffle didn't fully HE me in the rear, and luckily we do get away with that before we are absolutely demolished there. So the mouse is going to go down sooner or later, so I just leave him to the team, and I'm just trying to go ahead and deal with this dangerous Tier 9 tank destroyer. And luckily we do go ahead and take him out, leaving only the T-54. And it looks like from the last spotted area, he was in our spawn, basically, between the hill and the town. So I'm just headed back that direction. As you can see, the very nice mobility of the 121B kicking in here, going about 55 on the flat, averaging between 57 and 53, somewhere around there. And as you can see, I do run an interesting consumable loadout, and that's only because I like to go ahead and get over the hilly terrain very quickly, and I don't get tracked that often in this tank. And luckily, we are able to go ahead and pick up this T-54, showing you just how strong that the 121B can be in 2 consecutive, nearly 6K games here on the channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I do, in fact, think that this is the best gold tank that you can get for money at tier 10. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. My name has been BatchatBegins, and I will see you guys in the next one.